Hi Cubian, Organis, here once again for your edification. Today's the 17th, it's Monday, 17th of December. And this video is going to be called Brexit, My Union Theory, and No Referendum, or No Second Referendum. Now the last time I spoke to you, it was on the eve or minutes before the parliamentary vote of no confidence in Theresa May. Well, the vote was passed and she won. 200 votes to 117. Now there's a lot of politics around that. That the win is a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. And Pyrrhic indeed it is. Because prior to the no confidence vote, and the reason there was a no confidence vote was because Theresa May has got a proposed deal. Very one-track minded. This proposed deal, which is Chequers Part 2, is rubbish. And it's one of those ones that, excuse me, promises a lot and gives you a lot of what you think Brexit should be. But in actual fact, in the small print, you don't leave the EU. So it's a bit deceptive. And I've said it already, if you watch my video, Brexit, Treason and Sedition, then you'll understand what this is about. Okay? So, I was going to actually produce this show. When I say produce this show, structure it this morning, but I really couldn't be bothered. So, where are we now? Well, Theresa May has run off to Europe, and she went to get some assurances on what they call a backstop, where the EU want to use the Irish Republic as a kind of bargaining chip, if you will, and have a hard border, because the Irish, when they were given their referendum, said no, and then they were told to do it again, and yet obviously the vote turned out in favour of joining the EU. So the Republic of Ireland are in the EU. Northern Ireland, which is part of the Union, is not. At present, they have a relaxed border, and of course there's sea waters where obviously the EU will say that's where our jurisdiction is because of the island. So therefore, there has to be a hard border, which they call a backstop. And what do we do about that? Oh, what do we do about that? I think the problem that the UK have got is something that they should have done in the first place many years ago. Here's the UK. Off the coast of the UK is Ireland. UK, Ireland. Ireland is divided with North, who are pro, and South, who are anti. Now, you've got to understand, the Republic of Ireland didn't fight in any of the UK wars. World War I, no, they had their own little fight with England, right? They've had their fight. This goes back centuries. And it really, if you do your history correctly, the Irish problem begun in the 1600s. It came to a head with the two kings. The Dutch king defeated the Irish king at the Battle of the Boyne, and you've got two. They've never really got on, because some would say, well, they're English-Irish interlopers who were used to help defeat the Southern Irish, and they've always had problems ever since then. And when the IRA were doing their bits and pieces, etc. There are many ways they could have dealt with that. In fact, there's an opportunity for that Ireland could unite. I mean, I'm not an expert on the Irish situation, but I do think they could have done with some better minds. So really, if they were really thinking and not so egotistical, they would have solved the situation. I'll say no more about it apart from that. So anyway, Theresa May's gone to Europe begging. And what I don't get is, the jewel in the crown for the EU is the United Kingdom. Need them in. They need us in. 39 billion. We pay them the benefit of being in their failed, unelected club, and we get very little out of it, and they get our juicy money. They need us more than we need them. That's a fact. It's been said a lot, we buy a lot of their German cars, French cheeses and wines. I mean, they do a lot of business for us. And my thing is Theresa May is acting like we need them. They need us. What we should do is leave. That's it. Pack your bags and leave. They will say, come back, Chuck, come back. And they'll say, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. At which point, you get what you want. At this moment in time, Brussels, there was a riot in Brussels, right outside the EU offices, yesterday. France and the Yellow Jackets. I might do a Yellow Jacket video. I've got my Yellow Jacket, I've had it a few years. They've been rioting. 5 weeks. France is in flames. They've got armoured tanks on the streets of Paris. Right? This is your EU for you. It's not working for the French. It certainly isn't working for the Germans. The Hungarians don't want it. The Poles are... This is the banker's delight. It is the Tower of Babel. God don't want it. You know what I mean? But these international banksters, they want it. And they bought a load of these puppets to support it. Now, that's my discussion on Brexit. So today's Monday. She's going to go to the House and tell the House what kind of reassurances she got from Europe. I argue you're going to get nothing because they've already indicated there's nothing in the text they're going to change. Nothing. So if you want some clarification on some wording, they may give you that, but structurally they're not going to change anything, so she's going to come back. On Friday I said I give her a week and she's gone. I don't know, I can't see where she can go here. If she wants her Brexit plan, which isn't Brexit, but although she claims it, it isn't, it's not going to fly, because nobody likes it. And she would have to say, well, I tried my best, I'm out of here. At which point, the question is, who from the Tory party will be elected to be the leader to see Brexit through. Now, apparently, prior to the vote of no confidence, they sat her down in room 14, chamber 14, to say, answer for yourself. Her response was, I'm not going to be here to fight the next election. I'm going to step down. But let me just do the Brexit thing, right? Let me do the Brexit thing. And some people say, well, that's what convinced people to vote for her, so that she can win. I think a lot of people are jealous of Boris Johnson. They don't want Boris to win. And I think a lot of these people are on the payroll. And they are on the payroll. Their job depends on it, so they are going to back Theresa May so they can keep a job. They don't care about they can get voted out for, refusing to honour the electorate, because we did not vote for a deal. The June 23rd referendum date and vote was not about a deal. It was about leaving. We've had enough. We're done. We're taking our ball. We're taking our money. We're taking our football kit, our whistle, and we're leaving. Okay? That's it. Don't want nothing from you. That's it. But the media, first of all, they said it's not helpful to use the word treason, which every Remainer is, seditious and treasonous, and they should be charged forthwith. And the media that's played that game, them too, right? Your Nick Ferraris and all your lying ass, you know what I mean? Get rid of them. That's my view. So you've got this problem of them wanting a second referendum. They call it the people's vote. Well, I'm saying, well, what was the referendum in the first place. It was given to us, the people. We are the people. We got to decide it. And we decided that we wanted to leave. Why? Because we wanted to have our freedom of speech, our sovereignty, and you voted, the Remainers, that you didn't want your sovereignty, you wanted no freedom of speech, and you wanted it to be controlled by somebody else, whose, whatever the plan is, you don't know and you won't have a say on it. You don't want control and you don't want to say that's what you voted for. So for every Remainer saying we need a people's vote and we need to know what, Brexit mean and give us the letters, we want to have a say. You don't, because you voted not to have a say. That's the whole point. If you didn't get it, tough. Some of us can read into the text and understand this. You didn't, I can't help you. In fact, you're not mature enough to have that say. You had a vote, you voted out. No say, no freedom of speech, no democracy. That's what you voted for. You don't say, well, I lost my vote, but I want to have a say on your thing. No, we swept the floor. We swept the floor with you. That's it. It's done. Over. You have no say no more. The point is, we have got some Remainers, and Theresa May is one of them, who doesn't want that. She's on the payroll. So anyway, that's where we are. She's going to come back and report to the House about what she got from the EU. And I can tell you what it is. Big fat zero. At which point, somebody's going to say, well, why are you here? We don't want you. We're supposed to be leaving on the 29th of March 2019. 3 months away. And if we are going to leave because of Article 50, 29th of March, again, it doesn't matter whether we have a deal or not. We didn't vote for a deal. But Article 50 says we're going to leave 29th of March, and leave we will, with or without your so-called deal. Now, for me, all the cards are in the hard Brexiteers, in the Brexiteers. I don't know hard. The likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg, Mark Francois, Boris Johnson, and a host of others who understand what this is about. And I'm not playing with you, But the media class, they keep having to go at Jacob Rees-Mogg. Oh, he's posh eaten. Oh, this, that, and the rest of it. He's so aloof and, doesn't understand. He understands this subject very well. Very well. Hats off to the man. I don't care whether he went to Eton and happens to be rich and got a company. That's not the point. Okay? As he says, we leave on WT terms. We take down tariffs on clothes, food, and footwear. That, he says, and I believe him, helps the working man. Cheaper clothes, cheaper food, cheaper footwear. We get rid of the EU barren taxes, that really artificially inflate prices. We also keep our 39 billion, okay? So, I'm looking at a note here because now I'm going to move on to, I'll stick with it a little bit because we're going to talk about this concept of the people's vote and we need a new referendum. We need a new referendum. Now, first of all, you've got the people that lost. They don't like the fact that they lost. And even though all the parties voted to stick by the fact that the electorate said we're going to leave, they now come with a new one that, we want to know on what terms, as I just said. So they come up with this idea of there's a lot of money going into it. I'm actually looking at Sky at the moment, and then you've got these guys with these well-made signs, leave, we a new referendum and all the rest of it. Every time there's something news article going on, these guys are there. So the media is complicit with it because you could get security to move the guy, break the man's, break his signs up and say, get out. We don't want you here. We're doing impartial broadcasting, but they're always in the background with their signs saying, people's vote, as if we didn't have one. We had one. The problem that they have is, what would the question be? Okay? What would the questions be? You want a say on the deal. What question would you want? Of course, they want the Remainers who lost the vote would want to frame the questions as well. Okay? Not only does that undermine democracy in the first place because you had a vote, if you didn't know what it was, because I mean, you keep hearing both sides lies, both sides told lies. And I'm like, that might be true. They may have embellished here and there and used psychological tricks. I think one of the psychological tricks you could argue is the bus, the red bus that had 380 or 390 million NHS in blazing words. But if you read it, it didn't say we will fund it with 300. It didn't say that at all. But people don't read and don't understand when they're being blind. There's blind spots there, and they just think they're seeing something. So they call that a lie. It's not a lie. It's not a lie at all. If it's right in front of your eyes and you choose not to, because people could say, oh, and you know, it's amazing, you could say something, you're looking at the words, and you're looking at a boxing match. The commentator's telling you, oh, right, left, all right, oh, he's knocking him. And if you are cognizant and watching it, none of those punches hit. But listening to the commentator, you are emotionally drawn to believe that they were punches, and that maybe I didn't quite see that punch. You start making excuses and go along because he sounds authoritative. And that's pretty much how it goes with psychology, you know. There are psychological tricks you can do, and people will buy into it. Rhetoric is one of those things as well, right? The art of rhetoric. It's to persuade, using the voice. It goes deeper than that, but say no more. I mean, advertising companies use these techniques, and they're easy to apply on a one-on-one. So what would the questions be on your referendum? Because as it is, it seems to me that a lot of parliamentarians are on the payroll because they had a vote that a no deal is not an option, which to my mind doesn't make sense. I think this is Dominic Grieve's motion that he put forward. Dominic Grieve is a lawyer or was a lawyer. Another Remainer that doesn't like the result. But a no deal is not an option. And most people, it sounds to me like the parliamentary MPs are opposed to a no deal. They keep saying if no deal, that's horror, shock, cliff edge, crashing the economy. They're using all these scare tactics. Project Fear, we call it. Project Fear was what they did to alarm the public not to vote for Brexit because there's going to be millions of unemployment, the pound is going to be shot to pieces, there'll be famine in the streets and it'll be devastating, and the Bank of England said it, and Mark Carney, and all these people were projecting doom and gloom. Well, the economy is fine, thank you. None of what they said was true. None of what they said was true. Well, we've got Project Fear Part 2. Project Fear Part 2 is if you leave, again, pretty much without the quote-unquote deal, it's going to be doom and gloom and jobs going to be lost and all the rest of it. The economy, it's just another way of trying to emotionally blackmail people into staying in the EU by hook or by crook. They won't accept Theresa May still. That's one thing. Nobody likes Theresa May still because when you look at the actual details of it, other than Theresa May's flunkies, when you look at the detail, it does keep you in the EU and perhaps indefinitely and at the behest of the EU. And if they want you to leave, then you can leave. You're summarily dismissed. Well, you know, come on. I thought we voted to leave. Theresa May. So what she's trying to sell is not good enough. The EU like their deal, so they're not going to change it. Why should they? They're getting the best of both worlds, and they've got UK potentially locked forever. And that's what her deal is. And she's gone back to alter it. Even though the Parliament was going to vote on it, she got the indication that nobody liked it. It was going to get voted down. And then she pulled the vote. When she pulled the vote of no confidence went in. But she won it. Because there are flunkies and people on the payroll that allowed her. I'm like, I don't care what it is. You just don't like Boris, who may end up being the leader. And they're jealous. And the other thing is, if you don't like her deal, she's going back to the EU, begging, after she's pretty much signed off on it, to say, well, can I? And they're going to say no. So why did you leave her there? when you needed to get rid of her ASAP. So as much as the media was saying, oh, Jacob Rees-Mogg, the ERG, the European Research Group, oh, they lost it, they're finished. They're not. They're not. In other words, I would say they're more empowered now. They actually tell you what the deal is. So the second referendum, what would the questions be? And seen as it was a close vote, I mean, they keep running around saying, oh, people that voted leave are for Remain now because of the whole 2-year nonsense that Theresa May has allowed to occur because she doesn't want to leave. And so, hook by crook, we're beginning to find out, you don't really want to leave, do you? You know what I mean? No, she doesn't. Shouldn't have elected her to be the Prime Minister. Pussy politics again. But anyway, 2 years have been wasted, and she's still with her deal. What would the questions be? And as it was a close win, what if you do have this second referendum and it comes out the same, just close, but in reverse, the Remainers win? Do we go again? And then again, and then again? You can't do this indefinitely. We were told it was going to be a one-time thing, and it is the one-time thing. That's it. So I wouldn't give in to that, but there are some mysterious big money, international bankers' money, that are pushing this campaign, well-funded. Tony Blair's even come out. I mean, he's been doing the rounds, he's running up and down Europe, trying to overthrow the will of the people. Now, it's 17.4 million voted in favour of leaving. And about 1 million people voted to remain. No, 1 million people less voted to remain. 16 point whatever it was. And it was a close vote. But this is how democracy is. And apparently it's one of the largest electoral demonstrations of voting in decades. I've heard people say in history, but in decades it was a high turnout, about 80%. It was a really high turnout. It was a debate that was had. It's big in the UK politics. It's big in the UK, massive in Europe. Even Americans, Saturday Night Live was having a joke about Brexit. I just think the problem that I have with the way it is that it's not been called out. It's not been called out for what it is. The treason should be used more often. Sedition should be used more often. And those MPs should be warned. You said it once. I've explained to you. Don't do it again. You'll find out. Everybody realises, oh, that's what it's about. Is it about that? You'll see them shut their mouth. And we'll get on with the Brexit that we want. Can Europe get a deal? Can we give a deal with Europe? Yes. But first of all, we want to leave. That means cut every tie. Breathe again. They'll come knocking on the door saying, we can offer you this. And it's about what they can offer. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, we go to World Trade, WTO, World Trade Organization rules, as most countries in the world do trade by, and we build new links, a new empire, if you will. One in which is not profit motive, but will produce profit. I mean, if you look at the model that Robert Owen spoke of, when he was talking about the kind of social system that he was introducing, he was saying you still make your profit, you can make a profit here. Probably make an ever more lasting profit and do less environmental and sociological damage to the people that, you know what I mean, you actually help. Africa is in need of technology, teachers. A lot of things can be done with a new empire, with a new will. And we can get some profit out of it. We can create jobs for them. We can create jobs over here too, just by thinking long-term about stability and building stable governments who were once colonised by the UK. None of this rifle and castration rubbish crimes that they committed against the Mau Mau in Kenya. Now, the Mau Mau had a right to fight for their land. What's wrong in standing up for your home? Today, if you are a nationalist, they want to say you're fascist, you're bigoted. They don't want national borders. They can't stand you like in your own country. Then they say you're bigoted, right-wing, extremist, All these words are coming out to define those that are patriotic. They like to say you're white, racist, extremist, neo-fascist, or whatever. Of course, it's rubbish. I am not white, you know what I mean? So, MPs like Cheka Amuna, Anna Soubry, Caroline Lucas, screaming banshee of the Green Party. They all want this a second referendum. I'm like, you cannot be serious. Oh, they say it's not like the first. We want to have a vote on the terms. Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But you made a mistake, right? And history does that. It can inform you. Now, moving on. I'm just looking at Sky News at the moment. Adam Bolton's there. And I'm just listening, looking for any breakthroughs and any new interviews. But I'm going to talk about the Union. The United Kingdom. It's a special entity. It really is. And it's the oldest parliament in the world. It's by no means is it perfect. I'm a son of the soil. This is my home. As I said, it's not perfect. Unfortunately, it's got a lot of great potential, and to understand it as it exists within the 21st century is very important, extremely important. And you can go back in history to find out where we went wrong, and you could even kind of recreate that analysis of the classic liberal economics with what we've got here now. Laissez-faire was the zeitgeist of the day. Today it's market forces, globalization is the zeitgeist today. It's neo-liberal. It's the same kind of model where government are allowing big business to do what they want. And I don't think that's right. I don't think it proved right in the past, and it certainly doesn't prove right to repeat it here and now. But the Marxists have their analysis of society wrong in the first place, wrong in the second place, wrong in the third. Shut up. They don't know what they're talking about. So the Union, for the longest time, Blair, what's the devolvement? There was this concept from the Marxists, the same people who want no borders, that Westminster should give some more autonomy, they call it devolvement, to Scotland and to Wales. So Wales has got their assembly, Scottish have got their parliament, and this was a new Labour tactic. But I think you do that at your peril. Not only is it wrong to do it, it's not understanding the Union at all. At all. And why it's a special relationship. It's a weird one because for the longest time, there's certain things about the Union I've not understood why they were not put into effect. But of course, if somebody's got an ulterior plan, they're not going to do these things. But I think me speaking to you will educate you. And I've got this theory about the Union. Now, the Union began to be created with Edward Longshanks. He started that, believe it or not. Edward Longshanks, Edward I, is the guy that was depicted in Mel Gibson's Braveheart, the King of England. Patrick McGowan played him very well. Patrick McGowan, he's a good actor he is, or was. I'm not sure if he's dead, so pardon me if I've written his obituary just now. But he's a fine actor, and he played it very well. But not only did he play it well, the Hammer of Scotland, what he was also known as, actually played his role in real life very well. Now you have to understand, this is medieval, height of medieval times. And there is a problem, there's been a problem, long been a problem, where the Vikings will come and invading parties do what they want in these on the shores or the hinterland. They did it to Scotland. I mean, I didn't know how much so, but I remember there's a football team called Stenhousemuir in Scotland. Stenhousemuir. I mean, you got some Scottish teams. You've got Aberdeen, Glasgow Rangers.